I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is, we already did Bing Crosby.
Well, that's because I was editing. This is CELLDWELLER.
CELLDWELLER. And what's the name of the song?
Baptized in Fire.
Okay.
This is for the big homie Brian. You very good?
Yeah, I'm just really angry.
I know.
I'll tell you what. Let me not say nothing.
Well, if you'd like to get a song reviewed, dear listener, the way to make that happen is to join us on Patreon. Links are in the description for all the stuff I'm about to talk about. So on Patreon, what you can do is you can join in for the opening at the gate is $1, and you can join in alliances. They hang out on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, don't worry about it. They do hang out on Facebook too, but Discord is also very, very active. So they work together in groups depending on what type of music you're interested in, what genre of metal, and they get songs together and they influence our song list. We literally have a list that is the Alliance picks. So that's one way of having it done. Or you can be like Brian here, and it would be my first choice as well if I was a listener, is you can pay $125 and your name and your song automatically goes right onto our short list. So Brian has been waiting for this song, and I'm sure he's ready to hear us react to it. So that's how you get it done. If you do it 3 or more times with us, you get to put down to the $75 price. So that's pretty cool. And Vin made that an indefinite thing, so yay for you guys. Anyway, we're going to listen to this one, and hopefully by then, when we're done, Vin is in better spirits. Put your headphones on, please.
Hold on.
Stripping down to my bones, detached from everything I've known. Sometimes it feels like my life has been scorched from the earth, like the unconceivability, the trivial is burned away. The sacred is calling from the flames, towards the dross away. And I know I'll never be the same. I'll never be the same. Converging, submerging beneath the burning waves. Purification, consecration, refining, purifying. I'll never be the same. Regeneration, baptized in fire. In flames, in pain, the sacred and profane, separated in the belly of the fire, detached from every raw desire. Sometimes it feels like my life has been made for rebirth, like the unconceivability, the trivial is burned away. The sacred is calling from the flames, towards the dross away. And I know I'll never be the same. I'll never be the same. Converging, submerging beneath the burning waves. Purification, consecration, refining, purifying. I'll never be
tell you what. I
should probably close that window, huh?
I guess.
What?
I'll enjoy you doing it. Go ahead. I've got it rough.
Start what you were saying.
Very rough.
Okay.
No, I was mad as hell.
Yep. Are you still?
No, I'm.
This song helped you a little bit? Interesting.
Yeah, it did actually help me.
Why?
You know, the guitar work was, now that we're in a band or whatever, like, I'm always listening. It's interesting. I look first for the guitar and then the lyrics. Mm-hmm. So, just
flipped. You used to always listen to the lyrics first.
Well, yeah, that's yeah. But, so the guitar work was really good. I need to know what that musical device is when people go, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's got to be named something. Mm-hmm. So if you know the name and you want a free shirt, vinandsori@gmail.com. Whoever emails me the name for that technique is going to get a free shirt.
Did the other person win? Did you find a winner?
Yeah, he won. It was Orgy. The name of the band was Orgy. And
that was in one of the other. What song review was that in?
It was like 2 or 3 reviews ago.
But you don't know what the name of the song review was?
No. But this is what happens. If you listen to the end, there's lots of little mini contests and things that you can only find if you get to the end of the video. And sometimes we put it in the middle, sometimes we put it in the... You just never know.
Just don't know. Sometimes there's nothing at all.
That's good. That's good. I'm gonna put you on the marketing team. I'm gonna put you on the marketing team.
Yep.
So yeah, now who is the guy that introduced us to this band?
I think it's always been Brian that has done that.
No, this is Brian's band. Okay. With a theme much more Christian than sci-fi, a Christian theme that anyone would be hard pressed to miss. Okay, so this is. Are they a Christian band? What is CELLDWELLER?
I thought
I really enjoyed this song a lot.
Remember we did New Elysium?
Oh.
And you caught that there was a dual thing that it was sci-fi and Christian.
This guy is. This is a guy that he does it all himself. It's one guy.
Oh.
It's one guy, and he's able to do it. Holy moly! Like our drummer. He translates a lot of our stuff electronically, so I'll play a section, whatever, send it to him, and then he does it electronically.
Yep.
So it can be done. It can be done.
Yeah,
I think our drummer's a master.
Yeah, but that's still, we have multiple people working on the same project.
Right.
But if you're by yourself.
I think it'd be easier.
Really?
Well, yeah, because.
Not for me.
You don't have everybody's opinion. That's hard. That's hard to do. They're back, by the way.
Good.
That's hard to do.
Did you let them get something for you, huh?
Yeah, Sailor got something for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty hard to do, in my opinion. To do that with a band. Although,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
See, for me, it would be more difficult to have to do something all by myself musically. I don't. Well, I don't know, actually. Well, no, I didn't do that all by myself. I used somebody else's instrumental and put lyrics to it and the sound to my own lyrics, but.
Yeah.
But that's still using somebody else to help with the project then. But anyway, carry on.
It just depends. It just depends. Either way, this guy's the badass, obviously. Obviously. You know what's weird? This record is slated for release in 2021. But then this song came out. This song was released November 7th, 2019. So I don't know how that works.
We're not even in 2021.
Right.
That's
what
the
I'm
sci-fi
saying.
angle.
Well, maybe we are. No, this song was released 28 May 2020.
Oh, it just came out.
So I don't know.
Okay,
so it starts off, baptized in fire, the end of this empire stripped me down to my bones, detached from everything I've known. Sometimes it feels like my life has been scorched from the earth, life beyond conceivability, the trivial has burned away. The sacred is calling from the flames that burns the dross away, and I know I'll never be the same. Converging, submerging beneath the burning waves, purification, consecration, refining, purifying, I'll never be the same, regeneration, baptized in fire. Well, consecration specifically is one of those words that only appears in a Christian sort of subculture. And it's
really?
a specific type of Christian subculture. Like, we didn't talk a lot about consecration at our...
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was a big thing for me personally, but I never talked about it with anybody else. So, like, the concept of consecration in a religious context is that...
They used it a lot at my college.
Well, yeah, I could see that. It's basically when a person is, like, separated from other people to be extra holy in order to accomplish a certain type of mission.
Yeah.
That was pretty much consecrated. Which your college, you guys kind of had this whole thing like we're the cream of the Christian crop or whatever. Isn't that what your man said? He's like, we are the. This is.
I wouldn't have said it out loud, but it's what I was.
You guys all believe that, right? You guys were like the cream of the crop and the greatest Christians of all time. I got this buddy Mark. I got this buddy Mark, and he's like hardcore liberal, and he's like the greatest Catholics of all time. because he's like a hardcore liberal Catholic, and the conservative Catholics are like criticizing the Pope and all this. So he's like, here's another gem from the greatest Catholics of all time. But consecration is almost like,
well, true consecration is not going to make you prideful. It should humble you.
Yeah, but it's almost like a second conversion experience, like when a person kind of has that mentality about their life. Of course, that was always a running narrative about my life because of the dramatic, way in which I came into the world, right? So it was always like, oh, you're supposed to die,
right,
and all this is supposed to happen to you, and it all got cleared up after one prayer meeting, yada yada yada. So like I always had that like in my head. So it was it wasn't something where like I randomly was like woke up and was like, oh, but that idea actually was pretty helpful to me because there was this thing I read one time. It said, others can, you can't. And it was basically saying, look, there are things that you'll see other Christians are able to do and whatever that God will not give to you because you have a different type of thing, and that's just the way it is. And sometimes it's lonely, but you have to deal with it.
Yeah.
That was actually
that mindset.
That was actually pretty helpful to me. It was pretty helpful to me, and it was actually true.
It's so funny. I don't feel like that anymore. I think because we do the channel. Because what everybody else was doing was always something that you were like, I don't know if you should.
Right.
But I guess it's all right.
Right.
And this would be like one of those things where like I wouldn't have been able to do it at that point. Now, like reviewing the different music that we do and stuff like that.
Right.
Would be one of those things I would have never done.
But if we didn't have that experience for the last 3 or 5 years, I don't think we would be as interesting of song reviewers as we are now. Because it opened you up to like how people lived outside of your little bubble. And I don't think you had a real understanding of what those people lived like and what they were like and all that.
Well, I think that I've been more surprised by the fact that a lot of people in our channel actually have some roots in Christianity or Catholicism, or they have some religious roots, and that something or someone like had such a bad effect on them that it turned them away from religion and from God, or well, sometimes I'm kind of like, I don't know really if they think they're turned away from God, but I'm not really sure they are.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, some of these folks, when I listen to them talk, I'm like, they needed to turn away from Christianity for their own mental health.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we're gonna say that that's not authentic, real Christianity, but it doesn't matter. I mean, they grew up. That's Christianity, so they rejected that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad because they're still alive, and I think if they would have really absorbed that version of whatever Christianity, whatever people want to call it, I don't really care, but it was destructive, and so they rejected it. And in rejecting it, I think that they were still fighting for God, whether or not they knew it.
Yeah.
But yeah, what were you saying?
I can't remember. So.
Unbelievable. But it's one of those things where, he's talking about his life has been scorched from the earth, and I don't know if like there's still a sci-fi theme here because it's the satellites.
Yeah.
But that does kind of happen in conversion experiences where, you know, you go through this horrible event, or sometimes an overwhelmingly positive one. Like I had a mentor one time, and he says people are deaths and births influence a lot of conversions with people.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought that was a very, very interesting paradigm that he was talking about. And we didn't really experience that because in our context, you know, people were in a constant state of, you know, some sort of crisis or whatever. It wasn't like, even like a death wouldn't have really changed much of their life because these people were dirt poor. They had nothing, and they were grinding in the street all the time. So
yeah, I think they already had this kind of feeling or understanding that they were possibly at death's door. Like anything could happen.
Yeah, anything could happen. 100%.
So it wasn't like for people who feel like they're going to live for a lot longer, and then all of a sudden suddenly somebody's dead. Right. It's more shocking that, oh my gosh, I never expected that to happen to this. But there was so many of them that you were like, it wasn't shocking when you found out that they had passed on. It was hard, it was sad, you know, but it wasn't like, wow, I never thought they were gonna.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and he's talking about, you know, baptism in fire, and, you know, I forgot what song, it was a recent song. I got some very interesting messages from a couple, actually it's two people in the band actually messaged me about it. But I was talking about, we were talking about suffering and how God uses suffering and things of that nature, and one of them was like, oh, that's bullshit, blah blah blah, and, you know, it's the best that God can do, he's freaking terrible at it, because it was the one where I was like, you know, maybe God has access to information that we don't.
Oh yeah.
And how you know, being a father,
both thing and all that.
Yeah, being a father reconciled to me, you know, dealing with the problem of evil and things of that nature, but, you know, it's just been just a fact of my life that there are certain aspects of suffering and burning and fire and things being cleared away. I was talking to Zonia about, like, the whole forestry situation, you know, because, you know, everybody wants to blame, like, the wildfires exclusively on climate change. And Trump wanted to blame it exclusively on, you know,
not cleaning up the forestry
and all that. And, and so, you know, Zonia usually has, like, very nuanced some of this, some of that. But, like, just the whole metaphor of, like, burning out a forest, you know, for the good of the forest or for the greater good. Where, you know, because, you know, Trump was saying you got all this brush and all that, so it's all fuel, so when fire season coming, so, like, the solution is to, you know, have controlled burnings. So you burn all that stuff off so that when it's fire season, it doesn't have that type of fuel, right? And it's a lot more complicated than just one or two solutions. But again, there's a concept. So there's a concept of, like, if you had a person who was like a lover of trees or something, you saw these people start burning this, you'd be like, oh my God, you're terrible, you're horrible, you're burning it, not realizing that they're doing it to actually save the forest.
A bunch of trees, yeah.
Right. So, like, there's a lot of times when things in your life get, like, taken away and, like, burned to the ground, and you're like, there could be nothing, there could be no good reason for this, because, you know, we in our arrogance believe that we know the best for everything and everything. This is just crazy.
Well, I think that a lot of times we feel like that pain is always a bad thing.
Yeah.
And so we always want to avoid anything that's painful, and so...
And there's just certain aspects about yourself as a person and other people around you that do not get revealed unless there's a certain degree of pain. You know? Yeah. Like the quality of your friendships. Like, everybody's your friend when, you know, everything's going well and you're Mr. Popular and times are good, and then when everybody turns on you...
Yeah, the alcohol is full.
yeah. When everybody turns on you, you know who your folks are. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's like, you shouldn't be upset about those situations. You should be grateful for them. You know?
Yeah, it's hurtful though when you see people turn on you that you thought wouldn't, or wouldn't turn to the degree that they did.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But so there's a lot of usefulness in pain and suffering. I think our lives, especially people who exist in the Western world, everything is situated to give us the maximum possible comfort and the least amount of discomfort, or much less pain.
Yeah.
Discomfort.
A lot of growth comes by pain.
100%. I mean, you have growing pains. You know, Sayla's legs are hurting her and all that.
Dorian keeps complaining about his hands hurting.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, well, your hands are growing really fast in a short span of time.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, you know, I mean, good Lord. So, like, I don't have the paradigm that like all pain is to be avoided. Mm-hmm. I think that, you know, if you can take advantage of the pain and make the pain work for you, then you're in good shape. But again, we're coming from a paradigm where the most painful event in human history. And we're not just talking about the physical sufferings of Christ, but also the spiritual sufferings of Christ, because he bore the hells of a number that no man can count.
Emotional.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. So you know, if you're starting from there as your paradigm for how the world gets saved, mm-hmm. is that you bear your own pain and you bear the pain of others. And that's how the world gets saved. If you start from that as a paradigm, then the problem of evil becomes less and less of a faith-destroying moment. It doesn't make things easier when you see people starving, but it also makes you say, okay, if people are starving, what's my responsibility? Like, if everything is being burned away from this person, and I know what it's like to have my life burned away or whatever, like he's saying, scorched from the earth, and you came out alive on the other side, and then you see somebody else, and then you can inculcate that wisdom. You can give them that with, like, you know, I'm doing right now with this person who's obviously facing a very unjust situation from our own people. Shout out to Africa. Don't let me get me started up in here. Get off my Malcolm energy. Get off my Farrakhan energy. I'm about to go off on these people, but yeah, you know, pain is necessary. Mm-hmm. It's necessary. It's teaching us something, and I think a lot of the trouble that a lot of us get into is positioning every little aspect of our life to avoid any sort of pain or discomfort.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
I mean, it's one of the conflicts we have.
It does, yeah.
We have that, you know. So, you know, it's one of those things, man. It's like, okay. You know, like, we live in a fallen world, so if you don't have a way to engage with pain in such a way as you make it work for you, then you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's a good song because it really can. It puts you in that situation where you gain, you know, knowledge of self, which, you know, knowledge of self is a very, very, very important paradigm for me.
Yeah.
And so it's. Pain kind of is always here to kind of let you know where exactly you actually are. Mm-hmm. So I think that's important. So it's a very, very good song because, you know, obviously the term baptism has a religious connotation to it, because it's this idea that you're going down into death and then you're coming up to like a new life and a new human being. But a baptism of fire takes that metaphor and focuses more on the suffering aspect and the death aspect. In the New Testament, the aspect of baptism is about death. It's about dying and then rising again, because you're mimicking the death and resurrection of Christ.
Yep.
But there is a sense in which there is a baptism of fire that's mentioned too, where Jesus says, as he's looking toward the cross, he says, I have a baptism to undergo, and how anxious am I until it is completed. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about his own, you know, crucifixion. It was a form of baptism in his mind, which obviously would be closer to a baptism of fire than a baptism of water. So, very, very good song. So if you're having a hard time and life throws you a horrible curveball, pay close attention to your friends and pay close attention to yourself and how you handle it, and learn what you can from it, the best that you can, and rely on your friends and family and your faith, and you'll be okay. That's what I believe. What do you think of the song?
It was an 8 for me. I liked some of their other ones better than this one. Not there.
Some of their other ones. Haven't we only listened to one? Is the Elysium one?
No, I thought there was 2 of them, but anyway.
This song is going to rank very highly to me because it caught me in a bad mood. And usually when songs catch me in a bad mood, it's not good for them. But it was actually a pretty big pick-me-up. And keep your head up, girl. You're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. Don't worry about it.
Shout out to Brian. Thanks for the song.
Yeah, shout out to Brian, and shout out to black folk who continually bring down their own people and oppress their own people, because we can do that. There's not enough adversity for black folks in America. We need to do that to each other, especially in the. You're not saying that.
Okay. I think you need to stop.
What did I give this song?
I didn't hear you.
The 9.8. I thoroughly enjoyed the song. Thank you. No, legitimately, thank you, Brian, because literally the song converged at a moment where I was pretty pissed off, and I'm still
there
pissed
you go.
off.
There you go.
Hard to be pacifist. Then out.
Sorry out.
Gone.
Baptized in fire. Baptized in fire. Baptized in baptized in fire. Sacred is calling from the flames, it burns the dross away. Beneath the burning waves. And I know I'll never be the same, I'll never be the same. I'll never be the same. Shifting shimmer. Golden glimmer. Purification. My consecration. Regeneration. Baptized in fire. Converging, submerging beneath the burning waves. Refining, purifying, I'll never be the same. Converging, submerging beneath the burning waves. Purification, consecration, refining.